Hey, this is LA from LA Show. Thank you so much for tuning back into another episode of LA Show's current events. Please hit the subscribe button and notification bell for more. Now let's get into these stories. Welcome back to LA Show's current events. If you would like to support this platform, you can do so in the description links down below. Now let's get into the news. So first up is, of course, our sister Breonna Taylor. May she rest in peace. We are still looking into the inconsistencies within her case and what is taking place in Louisville as of now. I am apologizing on behalf of my reporting because I should have been on this every second that I saw something popping up in regards to this case. So I do apologize about that. But I have an article here from cbsnews.com, posted October 27th of 2020. Breonna Taylor grand juror says Louisville police actions before her death were criminal. Two grand jurors in the Breonna Taylor case spoke to CBS this morning, co-host Gayle King, in an exclusive interview set to air Wednesday. The two men, who asked to remain anonymous for their safety, said they were never given the option to consider murder or manslaughter charges, with one calling the police's actions and behaviors the night Taylor was killed criminal. One of the jurors, juror number 1, released a written statement last week criticizing Kentucky Attorney General Cameron over the grand jury proceedings. In a September 23rd news conference, Cameron said his investigation found and the grand jury agreed that the two officers who opened fire from Taylor's doorway on March 13th, killing her, were justified because they were returning a shot fired by her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker. Because of that, Cameron said 6 possible homicide charges under Kentucky law were not applicable in this case. In King's exclusive interview, the two grand jurors disputed Cameron's public comments regarding the case and said they were never given the option to consider murder or manslaughter charges, though juror number 2, who called Louisville's police actions criminal, said the entire operation that resulted in Taylor's death was full of deception. They were criminal leading up to this and everything that the way they moved forward on it, including the warrant, he said. Juror number 1 said they wanted to consider other charges, but were told there would be none because the prosecutors didn't feel they could make them stick. Authorities were executing a search warrant for a drug case connected to Taylor's ex-boyfriend, Jamarcus Glover. No drugs were found in Taylor's apartment, and Glover has said that Taylor had never been involved in any drug trading. Taylor, a 26-year-old emergency medical worker with no criminal record, was shot at least 5 times. They couldn't even provide a risk assessment, juror number 1 said of the police department. It sounded like they hadn't done one. He accused the department of being negligent throughout the entire process leading up to and after the night in question. Their organization leading up to this was lacking. That's what I mean by they were negligent in the operation, juror number 1 said. After Cameron's press conference announcing no charges directly linked to Taylor's killing, protesters took to the streets calling for justice in Breonna Taylor's name. Now fired Louisville police officer Brett Hankinson was indicted on wanton endangerment charges for firing shots into a neighbor's apartment during the raid. He has pleaded not guilty. Police claim they identified themselves before entering the apartment. However, Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, said in a separate, exclusive interview with CBS this morning that he was 1,000,000% sure that nobody identified themselves. I'm starting to smell some nonsense coming from this case. But I also have another article here that's very interesting, and this is coming from WLKY.com. LMPD investigative file details history of questionable actions by detective fired in Breonna Taylor case. This was posted October 26th of 2020. New details are coming to light about the only Louisville Metro police officer who has been fired and charged in connection to the deadly raid at Breonna Taylor's apartment. It's all a part of the information that WLKY has obtained through the Louisville Metro Police Department's full investigative file on former Detective Brett Hankinson. Back in June, Hankinson was fired from the force after the LMPD's Public Integrity Unit determined he blindly fired 10 shots into Taylor's apartment building on Springfield Drive. But this wasn't Hankinson's first run-in with the... According to the full investigative file, WLKY has learned that since Brett Hankinson joined the LMPD in 2003, he had been investigated 4 additional times. Hundreds of pages of documents from the investigative file detail the complaints made about Hankinson during his 17 years as a Louisville police officer. The file obtained by WLKY through an open records request shows that Hankinson faced an internal investigation by PIU 4 times. 2 of those instances were for official misconduct, 1 for theft, and 1 for assault. The assault complaint was made against Hankinson and several other officers for an incident involving a teenager who claimed he was beaten by police in 2009. PIU investigators found the allegations against Hankinson and the other officers were unsubstantiated and the case was closed. When it comes to the 2 official misconduct complaints, Hankinson was accused of inappropriate behavior toward female suspects. The PIU found one of those accusations to be unfounded and false. An investigator for the second instance reported the evidence didn't support the allegation. The case was closed and no charges were filed against Hankinson. In 2014, a complaint was filed against Hankinson and another officer for stealing money from a suspect following a traffic stop. The PIU found what it said were several inconsistencies in the complaint story and determined there wasn't enough probable cause to warrant criminal prosecution. During his time with LMPD, Hankinson was also investigated by the department's Professional Standards Unit 4 times. That unit is tasked with conducting internal investigations and administrative investigations of department members. The PIU and the PSU fall under the Special Investigations Division of the LMPD. Under the Professional Standards Unit, 1 case Hankinson was investigated for involved a pursuit and another involved a traffic stop, both of which resulted in no disciplinary action. Well, that's all I'm going to read out of this article. And like I said, it's a lot of inconsistencies, man. This guy, Hankinson, of course, he's not the only officer that's probably had these type of reports against him. But not all officers are a part of this conspicuous task force going in and shooting at people while they're at home with nothing in their home and no criminal background, no criminal activities going on at all. So, not everybody is like Mr. Hankinson here. Let me know what you guys think about this case. Are your views starting to come together? Are you starting to smell corruption? Are you pretty much like tired of all of this stuff going on, period? Like, what do you guys feel? I really want to know. Let me know down below. Also, I want to send some love and light to Breonna Taylor's family. I know this is, very, very hard to lose somebody unjustly. You have to think about that. These people can be anybody that they want to be. And to be taken out like this is just, it's really sad. And it really should be as a blow to the Black community. Alrighty, well, we have another story that is very much so heartbreaking and another blow to the Black community. I look at it like this. We need to get back to the old days where it takes a village to raise a child. I have an article here from EURweb.com. Texas rapper, age 12, sentenced to 7 years for shooting a 1-year-old. This was posted on October 27th of 2020. A 12-year-old aspiring rapper from Fort Worth, Texas, has been sentenced to 7 years in juvenile detention facility for shooting a 1-year-old child who survived. According to reports at the time of the shooting, the juvenile, who goes by the stage names Lil Rodney, Baby Savage, and 30 Shots, was on probation for an arson case and had been fitted with an ankle monitor. The boy, an alleged Crip gang member, told the judge during a hearing that was conducted via Zoom that he cut the monitor off because he wanted to attend a funeral of a friend. So I'm going to stop with this article and try to talk until we get to the scenes of him in actual court. However, this case touches me to my core because I am seeing more and more children wanting to be grown, wanting to be older than what they are. And it is very, very disturbing, especially in this time frame that we're in with this technology and social media. You can go online and be whoever you want to be. And some people don't know how to take online stuff away from their actual reality. And those said people, 9 times out of 10, are children. We got to watch these kids out here. This cannot keep happening. We cannot keep raising young men like this. And I know that there are some damn good parents out here that raise their children, that do what they have to do, but we also have these children in our communities that need help. And that goes back to my phrase, it takes a village, because it really does. When you step out your house into your community and you have nobody that you feel really has your back or really is worried or cares about you, these young men fall into these cracks with these gangs. Now, as far as these gangs go, these older guys who are trying to play the OG role in these children's lives, come on, man. Come on, man. That is crazy. That is a baby. Come on. You don't want these kids to keep repeating this cycle. Ain't nobody making it up out the hood. It's just a crab in a barrel mentality. And it really does hurt me because this little boy could be anybody he wants to be. And now he's stuck in jail in order to be incarcerated for years and years and years. And he gets out when he's like, 19, 20? But still, you've already been tainted by the system. That's not cool. To the article, I just want to know if you can at least give me one more chance, then see. If this time I mess up, you should hold me for some months, a tearful Rodney pleaded with Judge Kim. But the judge wasn't having it. Every time you come in here, you cry. You know that, right? Kim told him. Every time you beg me for another chance, you swear to God on my mama's name, I'm not going to cut off the monitor. I'm not going to run off every single time. In August, Rodney allegedly posted a now deleted picture on his Instagram of himself smoking weed along with the caption, F Judge Kim. Once you put something on the internet, it doesn't come down, Kim said during the virtual court hearing. Rodney's grandfather became his legal guardian when he was a toddler after his father abandoned the family and his mother was arrested multiple times. Your papa is a wise man, you know that? The judge said, referring to the grandfather. He is here every single time you have a detention hearing, every single time, because he loves you and cares about you. But you're out here thinking that there's something better than the home that he's providing you. Lil Rodney will remain incarcerated until he is 19 years old. Thank goodness that baby survived. At least Rodney does have a grandfather that does really do care about him. But we all know that, when you grow up around grandparents, you can try to take advantage of them and, do things that you're not supposed to do. So I just wish this young man a lot of growing up, maturity. That's what I want for him. And he shouldn't have to do this in jail. However, certain things you just cannot excuse. What if that little baby died? Y'all, let me know what you think about Lil Rodney. So I know we all have seen what is going on and what's taking place in Philadelphia. I have an article here from NBCPhiladelphia.com. Walter Wallace Jr. struggled with mental health issues, family says. And this was posted on October 27th of 2020. A day after he was shot and killed by 2 police officers, sparking protests and a night of civil unrest in Philadelphia, family members of Walter Wallace Jr. are speaking out, describing him as a husband, father, and aspiring musician who struggled with mental health issues. Mental health is real, Sam White, Wallace's cousin, told NBC 10. Depression is real. That's something that we have to look at as a society. How we engage and we interact when those happen. How the police respond when you deal with a crisis situation. On Monday, Philadelphia police responded to reports of a person screaming, as well as a report of a 27-year-old male assaulting an elderly female at a home on the 6100 block of Locust Street. When officers arrived, they found Wallace holding a knife, according to investigators. A viral video of the incident shows Wallace, a black man, walking toward the officers while a woman, who a witness identified as Wallace's mother, tries to stop him. 2 armed police officers back away from Wallace and tell him at least twice to put the knife down, though it's unclear from the video whether or not Wallace is holding a knife. As Wallace continues to approach the officers, the camera briefly points downward and the sounds of several gunshots are heard as the police open fire. The camera then rises again, showing Wallace motionless on the ground as his mother runs toward him, screaming hysterically. Anthony Fitzhugh, Wallace's cousin, told NBC 10 the man's father also witnessed the shooting. They're never going to be the same again, Fitzhugh said. They actually sat and watched their son literally get murdered. Police revealed Monday that each officer fired at Wallace 7 times, though it's unclear how many times he was struck. At what point do you draw the line and say, okay, I'm going over the limits? This no longer falls into my job description. This is a murder. You're just shooting now. You're just acting like you're shooting at 2, 3, 4 different targets. It's one target and both officers are shooting like they're in a war or something, Fitzhugh said. Fitzhugh told NBC 10 Wallace struggled with mental health issues and was taking medication. He said his cousin was having a mental breakdown Monday when a family member called police. From my understanding, someone reported him as having health issues, but they were advised once they got on the scene, they were advised that he was having mental health issues, Fitzhugh said. Fitzhugh told NBC 10 he believes the officers should have used tasers instead of guns. Philadelphia Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw said Monday that neither officer was equipped with a taser and not all police officers in the city carry them. Fitzhugh and White believe police officers should have better training for dealing with people suffering from mental illness. Police officers are trained to defuse and de-escalate situations, so they should be trained to defuse and de-escalate situations, White said. There could have been something else done before you take a person's life. Fitzhugh stopped short of calling the shooting racially motivated, but described a video he had seen of white officers dealing with a mentally ill white man who was armed with a knife that didn't result in the man's death. I don't want to say that they were racist cops and they shot him because he was black, Fitzhugh said. What I'm saying is if he was a different nationality, would y'all have used the same choice? I don't know what was going on through their heads. Wallace was a 27-year-old father of 7 who had just gotten married this month. This is just heartbreaking. 7 kids this man is leaving behind. Oh, shit. From the PhillyInquirer.com. State of police shooting with Walter Wallace Jr. prompts heated in West Philadelphia. This was posted October 27th of 2020. Late Monday into Tuesday, police struggled to respond to vandalism and looting along the commercial corridor of 52nd Street, an area that was the scene of clashes between police and protesters earlier this summer. At least one police vehicle was set on fire Monday night on the street. By morning, an officer was hospitalized in stable condition with a broken leg after being struck by a pickup truck, police said. About 29 other officers suffered mostly minor injuries rocks, bricks, and other projectiles. Police said in a January report. Authorities detained 10 people overnight near 55th College Street. Police said, and those people were set to be released pending possible charges of assaulting police or rioting.
You're supposed to protect us, right?
Officers arrested about 20 people in relation to looting
Y'all
at
killed one of us.
various
Y'all
stores
shot
in
one of
West
us tonight.
Philadelphia, University City, Overbrook Park, and Center City.
Y'all shot. You don't know.
Not near the protests. 6 law enforcement vehicles were also vandalized. May this brother rest in peace. Let me know what you guys think about this story down below. Thank you all so much for listening and tuning in to this episode of LA Show's Current Events. Of course, there will be more, so please subscribe to this channel and turn on your notifications if you haven't already. Please go follow me on all of my social media websites to stay up to date with current news that is going on in all of our communities. And once again, I love you all, and I want you all to stay safe. And hit me up with any stories that you may see in your area.